Hinkle Fieldhouse. Let's go to Hinkle Fieldhouse here. UConn is at Butler. Butler cuts UConn's lead to 66-65, 2:25 to go. Alex Karaban, kaboom! Big time three to make it 69-65. UConn. Patrick McCaffrey comes up with the layoff. Diarra answers. McCaffrey answers, and then Karaban says good night. 2 clutch threes by Karaban. UConn 78, Butler 74. Huskies are 10-3. They are rolling. They're 2-0 in the Big East, and since the Maui Invitational, this team has been able to stack 6 consecutive wins heading into Christmas. Rob Douster, your take on the Huskies and their win at Hinkle?
I think that this was the coming of age moment for Alex Karaban in terms of being the star and the go-to guy, right? There's different ways that you can be a go-to guy offensively, right? One of them is you put the ball in his hands, you get out of the way, and you just kind of say, all right, go. We trust you one-on-one. We trust you to be able to make a play. And that Alex is not that guy, right? But what makes him so effective is he's great at running off of screens. He's great at reading screens. He really knows how to sell a fake or sell like a certain action. And I think what UConn loves doing more than anything else with him is putting him in the screen the screener actions. And you saw 3 different ones on the last 3 possessions for UConn tonight. One of them was he set a flex screen for solo ball and comes off of a pin down off a terrace read. Next one he sets a ball screen and then runs off of a dribble handoff for terrace read. They call that a Peja action. I found that out today. I'd never heard of that before. And then the next one he goes and sets a ball screen, ghosts it, and runs immediately off a flare screen and bangs home another 3. And I think that having that guy at the end of games is one of the things I was a little bit worried about with UConn this year. The other one was like the 5 spot and the point guard spot. Hassan Diarra has answered any questions people had at the point guard issue. Like, I regret ever saying anything where I doubted that dude. Like, he's an absolute dog. 48 assists, 10 turnovers during the 6-game winning streak. He has been unbelievable since I got back from Maui. He's been great. Terrace Reed and Samson Johnson, like, there's going to be growing pains there, but I think combined that you have enough when you are getting this level of play from Liam McNeely and this level of play from Alex Karaban. I joked the other night, guys, that I said that all I'm going to be doing the rest of the year is listening to that Lil Wayne song 3-Peat. But I don't know if this team is national title ready yet. I don't think that they're one of the top 4 teams in America, but like, they are so not what we saw in Maui anymore. And I don't know, Randolph, maybe you could speak to this, man. I don't know if it's like a level of confidence. I don't know if McNeely's just taking a step forward. They're not really running all that much stuff a little bit differently. They're getting McNeely a little bit more in like those DHOs and those the pin downs where he's coming off the curl and letting him make some decisions more. But to me, it just feels like this team kind of figured out who they were and the guys bought into their roles. And it just feels like a different confidence level from this team over the course of the last 3 weeks.
One, since they got back from Maui, they're obviously defending a lot better. I think they're probably giving up in the 60s, where at least 68, 69 points a game, and they were giving up in the 80s in Maui. The competition there was great. Sometimes when you get to this type of break too, you get a chance to get home and you get to practice a little bit. If I was asking Coach Hurley off camera, I would be curious if I was to ask him, if he would be honest, and I would say, did some of your guys come into this season with the level of expectations like, man, we UConn, it's just what we do, and without investing in those 2 national championships? And there was a little bit of that. And then, with their guys, I know he's always, doesn't matter, next page, move forward. But sometimes when you're dealing with kids, that expectations of, man, we UConn, we coming in with all the national championship, the 3-P conversation, could they answer the bell with that? I think they've settled things at their guard spot, because we were talking about Aiden Mahaney coming in and being their starting guard, and now he's seemed to be a 10-minute-a-game guy, and he's effective in that time. So he'll have to earn more minutes. But to your point, Hassan Diarra has been great. Solo ball has been better than I thought he would with his step up as a sophomore, freshman to sophomore leap, man. So I think this team will continue to get better. McNeely's a late get. His ability to pass the ball on the front line. I mean, we know about he can make shots, but his ability to make passes and create opportunities and shots for somebody else at his size is an underrated skill set that allows him, like, so many times he's catching it on a move. He's dropping it off to the bigs, or spraying it out if he's not finishing. Like they'll be fine. They'll be there when they're not as talented as no one's claiming they're as talented as they were a year ago, but they got the shooting. If they can
Hard to
continue
be.
to defend like this, yeah. If they can continue to defend like they're doing right now, then they're going to score enough points to beat you.
And I still think there's room to grow defensively. Like they've been better,
Right.
and they still need to
season.
get better. Yes, go ahead, Fanta.
It's a long season, but Karaban is just beyond his years. He is as much of a winner in this sport as anybody. He plays with a killer instinct. Liam McNeely is like a 35-year-old in an 18-year-old's body, and his poise and the way he plays, it's as if him and Karaban are clones of each other. Because this is an offense that's predicated on getting shooters open and making those shots. And McNeely's like a robot. You know, he goes 3 for 3 in this game, doesn't need the volume. He just drills those shots. And on this day, solo ball wasn't knocking them down. I think that's what's encouraging about Connecticut. They're able to fight through some more things. Hassan Diarra is not getting enough attention nationally lately. Everyone's like, well, UConn doesn't have great point guard play. What are you talking about? Like, no. What are you talking about? Over the last 4 games, he has 36 assists. 36. Over the last 5 games, he has 43 assists. So to the person out there that's saying you still think UConn's point guard play isn't particularly good, what are you watching? Because Diarra has been one of the best point guards in the sport as of late.
Preach, fan. Look, you're not wrong. And the best part is it's not all on him either, because what made UConn so good the last 2 years, and we've seen this with, I think, 12 of the last 14 national champions, or 12 of the last 13 national champions. They've had 2 point guards on the floor. It wasn't just Tristan Newton. It was Tristan Newton and Cam Spencer, who also was at 15 points and 3.5 assists, right? It was that you had Tristan Newton and Andre Jackson, 2 guys that could facilitate offensively. Liam McNeely's ability, like you said, Randolph, come off those pin downs, come off those DHOs, get in the paint and play 2-on-1 and make the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come on, the guy's playing drop, and basically you have a guy on your hip, and it's like, am I going to go in and finish? Am I going to dump it off to the big guy? Or is there someone tagging, I kick it out for a 3-point? Like, he makes the right decision every single time you have that opportunity, and he's become their second point guard and their second playmaker, and that's where the leap's been. It's not just Hassan's been a lot better. It's been Liam McNeely getting better too. And now the next step is, because we know what Terrace Reed can be and Samson Johnson when he's healthy and not fouling out.
Yes.
Like, those guys, I think, have kind of figured out the balance at the 5. I'm not worried about the 5 spot anymore. Now it's, if you want to really be in the national, they're in Big Ten title conversation. Like, they can win a Big Ten regular season, Big East regular season championship right now, right? They're good enough to do that. You want to talk about national title contention? You got to be significantly better on the defensive end of the floor. You got to get to the point where you're top 25 in KenPom, as opposed to being like top, I think they're like 95th right now. They were 95th coming into the day.
Quickly, in